Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to today's webinar slash cooking demo, if you will. So for today, what we are going to be doing, this is the first in a series, and we are going to be talking about simple, healthy, gluten-free, sugar-free, mostly dairy-free cooking, offering some different recipes as well as some different variations. And for today, we're going to be talking about stir fries. And in a future episode, I will probably do soups one time, probably salads one time, and I may even attempt to do a dessert one, which should be interesting considering, if we're talking about sugar-free, that can make things a little bit challenging, but I might do that, or I might do some kind of a breakfast type thing instead. So the first thing you want to think about when you are looking at stir fries is what are you going to use for like your starch? So, you're going to use like some kind of pasta, some kind of rice. What are you going to do? And what I cooked up tonight is this Banza rotini that's made from chickpeas. This is like a bigger box I actually got at Costco, but you can get smaller boxes at pretty much every grocery store. I know even Walmart has it. Chickpea pasta is actually one of my favorites as far as the taste goes, but you have a lot of other options as well. If you have a Trader Joe's in your area, they offer brown rice pasta that's really good, that literally is just made from brown rice. You also have like a brown rice and quinoa type pasta mix that you can get from the Great Value brand from Walmart. Trader Joe's also have like a red lentil pasta. That's not one of my favorites. There is also a yellow lentil one that I like that's pretty good, but you basically just want to find something that is either like a rice and a quinoa mix, or a chickpea or a lentil, or rice or a lentil mix, or something that doesn't have, any other added ingredients to it. So that's the first thing you want to look for. And then the other option, of course, is if you're watching this and you're not actually gluten-free and don't have to be gluten-free, you could potentially use, like a wheat pasta or something like that. Or if you don't want to use a pasta and you want to use rice, you could use, like wild rice would be a really good one. I always recommend using either wild rice, brown rice, or if you're going to use white rice, some kind of like a jasmine rice, because those are a little bit better. There's a little bit higher nutritional value to that as opposed to just like a straight white rice. So that's what you want to use for your base. And then when it comes to doing your actual stir fry and vegetables, you have a bunch of different options. So I'm going to start by showing you a little bit about what I cooked up, and hopefully I'm going to try to show this so that you can hopefully see this. I think I may have to tilt it down a little bit so you can see the plate more than you can see me. There we go. I think you can see that there. And what I did tonight is I used onion, celery, carrot, and mushroom all chopped up. And I find that chopping up onion, carrot, and celery can make a really good base for things. You don't necessarily have to start with that as a base, but that can be a really good base. And it's also obviously a really good base for a lot of soups, casseroles, any kind of an entree that you want to do, starting with those three and then expanding from there. Usually I find if I'm going to do any kind of a stir fry, that if I'm going to start with the onion, celery, and carrot, then I'm going to want to add at least one other thing in. So in this particular thing that I cooked tonight, I put in mushrooms, but you could also do something like some spinach. So like I've got a bag of spinach here. You could also add in, like right in here, I've got some cabbage. So I find that the combination of like onion, carrot, celery, and cabbage is really good. Or you could also do, like asparagus, you could add in broccoli, you could add in different kinds of things, but typically I like to have some kind of a melody that consists to begin with of some kind of an onion. So like in this particular recipe I just showed you that I just cooked up, I used just regular white onion. You could also use like a few, here's like some green onions, you could use a few of those if you wanted instead. Or you could also do like some red onion, could work really well. I find that red onion tastes really good if you're going to combine it like with broccoli, spinach, or asparagus. Those are three of my favorites to combine with red onion. Personally, the combination of using red onion with carrot and celery is not my favorite. Typically, I like to put like more of, like your yellow or potentially green onion with carrot and celery, but you could try red onion with carrot and celery if you want. You just have to kind of experiment and see what works for you. Or if you really want to cheat, you can do something like this stir fry frozen. So this is the sugar snap peas, but it doesn't actually have sugar in it. That's just the name of the vegetable. That is such a thing. And then broccoli, green beans, yellow squash, red peppers, carrots, yellow peppers, and water chestnut. So this is a frozen mix. You can also buy frozen mixes that have, like different kinds of peppers in them. You can get frozen broccoli. You can get, all different kinds of frozen vegetables. The advantage to that is these typically come all chopped up, and then, you just kind of dump it in a pan and cook it. And then there you go. You have it. And if you do need to chop up vegetables, one of the tools that I really like to have that I recommend that people get is, I'll try to show you what this looks like. This is, I think, called like a Mueller brand is what this is, but I got this at Walmart, but you could get it lots of different places. But you can kind of see there how I used it and haven't washed it out yet because I was just chopping up, but comes with a couple different settings and things that you can use, and you basically just put the vegetable in there. You only have to cut it in a few small pieces, and you put it in here and you just chop down, and it literally just chops in minutes if you're going to chop by hand. So that's one of the more efficient, effective ways of getting all your vegetables and everything all chopped. If you're not going to go the route of purchasing them already chopped, like in a frozen bag type thing. Another combination that could be really good is we're coming up on summer, so we're going to have summer squash season. So you're going to have like your zucchinis and your yellow squashes. So you could either do like a little bit of zucchini with yellow squash and probably a little bit of onion. I probably wouldn't add in the carrot and celery if I was going to do it that way. Or you could just do some zucchini with some onion. And maybe, you also want to add, if you wanted to add in a third thing, you could add in like a little bit of celery or asparagus or whatever. So the idea is it can be really flexible. You can use whatever you want. But like I said, if it's going to be filling enough, and it kind of just depends. Sometimes I'll do, so like tonight, I just did like a vegan, just vegetarian type, vegan really type. I didn't put any meat in there, but if you're going to add in some meat, you could add in like some chicken, you could add in shrimp. I personally don't eat red meat, but you could add in like some beef. You could also do some ham, bacon, whatever you wanted to do. And if you're going to add in any kind of meat, then you probably might only need, like it might be good enough to just have some zucchini and onion. But if you were going to do it without the meat, you may want to also add in a third vegetable. So it kind of just depends on how filling you want it to be and whether you're going to, like I said, do it just with vegetables or you're going to add meat in. So you have like different options there that you can do depending on what your personal tastes are and what you're planning to include. And then what I typically do is I'll add in a little bit of water as well. And then I will cook it in some kind of a little bit of a cooking oil. And you want to typically what I've done is either avocado oil or olive oil. And the reason is that you can use something like coconut oil, but then it has kind of this funny taste where everything just kind of tastes kind of this coconut kind of taste. And you're just going, oh, what is that? It just doesn't taste that great. So I don't recommend doing coconut oil. And you don't want to use like a canola oil or just generic vegetable oil because those oils actually are really highly processed. They're just not really good for you. So really avocado oil or olive oil are going to really be your best bets. Or you could technically use something like a sesame oil, could technically probably work as well. And then depending on what kind of flavor you want to add, a couple of my favorite things to add in that don't have the sugar is to use, this is the Trader Joe's one, but you can get them at other places too. Some kind of like a balsamic vinegar can be a really good one. And again, this is also the Trader Joe's one, but they do carry them at several other grocery stores as well. This is the coconut anemos. So coconut anemos is literally like the sap from the like the coconut basically plant. And it does have some natural sugar in it because it's a naturally pretty sweet, but they don't add, the ingredients literally are the organic coconut sap with a little bit of water and sea salt. And you just kind of put it on. So I actually haven't put any on yet. Sometimes I'll actually cook with it. Other times I will just put it directly on. So I haven't put any on yet. So I'm just going to put a little bit on here so that I actually have it when I'm ready to actually dive in and actually start eating. So you can put that on there. You could also Personally, I'm not currently eating soy, but you could take a look at some of like the gluten-free soy sauces. You just want to make sure that you read the labels so that you don't find anything that has sugar. So those are just some ideas of the different sauces that you could add on to flavor it. Personally, I don't really use a lot of spices and flavoring when I do like a stir fry. I use a lot of spices and things when I do like some kind of like soups or whatever. But with an actual stir fry, I don't typically put like other flavorings on. You could, technically also even add a little bit of butter to add more flavor. If that's something that you're eating, you could add on some butter a little bit. But yeah, so that's basically your basic stir fry. So a couple of things you want to think about when it comes to trying to make sure that you're not cooking and you're not adding in extra sugar. The main source or couple sources of extra sugar that you can end up with would be things like ketchup. A lot of people, I think, know this, but ketchup a lot of times actually, depending on the brand, can actually have more sugar, as much or more sugar in it as cookies and cakes and candies. So you want to be really careful with that. Also, any kind of like barbecue sauce, a lot of your dressings, your sauces, salsa, even all those kinds of things, a lot of them have added sugar. So there's a couple different ways around that. One way would be to try to make some of your own, potentially just use your own tomato, just use plain tomatoes. There also are sugar-free brands out there. So one of the brands that is known for being sugar-free that makes like a sugar-free ketchup and a lot of different things like that is called Primal Kitchen. You can typically find that at a lot of your different grocery stores. It is more expensive than, like your regular ketchup though. So, there are recipes out there that you can find. You could potentially even make one and experiment with even adding maybe a little bit of like monk fruit or agave or something like that. That's personally not something I've done. I've just gotten to the point that I just don't really use ketchup. I will just use my own tomatoes or, that seasoning, that kind of thing. I just kind of avoid ketchup altogether. So when it comes to stir fries, that's really the main thing, is if you're going to add on, any kind of a sauce, a ketchup, a salsa, dressing, anything like that, then you've really got to read labels, because a lot of those, like I said, have as much or more sugar as even a candy bar or cookies or cakes or anything like that. So that's really all. I was originally maybe going to make this a little longer and actually try to do it like a live demo, but then realized that my setup for trying to film in the kitchen and stuff with lights and cooking and stuff just makes it kind of hard. So that's kind of really the basics of it. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask? And if you don't want to come off, you can type your question in the chat or the comments, and I can just answer it there as well. See if anybody has any. Check my lives here too and see if anybody's asking any. Does not look like I have any questions or anything there. Okay, well, if nobody has any questions, then that's pretty much it. And yeah. So I will talk to you guys later then on another one. And yeah, if you guys want to do the one where I'm going to go over soups or salads or things like that, then you can sign up for that one as well too. Yep, you're welcome, Rebecca. Okay, well, have a good one then.